Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I am your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern, reminding you, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Codename Legion Cub.
So anybody watching may notice the new setup that I've got here. I'm getting used to it, getting used to separate headphones. And yes, they were out of large screens. So
we're going to get him an in-ear monitor next, dear listeners, so that he can have one hand over his ear at the same time.
So I couldn't, last week when we were recording the segments episode, which everybody should check out. We've been getting a lot of really good feedback about that one. We had a lot of fun with it. When whatever happened, my internet went out or whatever the problem was, and I had to switch over to my Chromebook. And I put no, not that screen, Rexship, the microphone screen.
Well, you can't see it if you're watching on mobile right now. It's kind of not in the picture.
Oh yeah, it's not even in the shot on the vertical. Interesting. So maybe it's fine where it is. So I put in full Bluetooth earbuds, and I hated it. It just didn't sound, because I've been recording with headphones like this for 12 years now, 13 years, however long, 13 years now. And those close out the sound so much that I sounded so weird to myself. I couldn't deal with it. It was terrible. So I have to have these over the ear, like that let this, I don't know. Anyway, this is what we've got, and it's great. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Click the follow button. Leave us a 5-star review, wherever that is. And most importantly, share the shows, whether it's an audio podcast, whether it's this live stream that you could share right now, or leave a like. The best thing you can do to support us is share the show. But of course, if you're here live, you can also support us in the super chat. Anything that we get rolling in financially goes back into the show, whether it's for hosting, whether it's for, well, it's all hosting at this point. The audio version, which will probably be moving. Nobody will notice anything at all, but I'm going to change hosting services, and it is now going to cost a little bit, not a lot, a little bit of money to host the audio version. Just got to make some changes on that. We also have, believe it or not, we've got a Facebook group. Crazy. The Audible Army Facebook group, who, by the way, are the ones who chose what was in last week's segments episode. If you would like to join the Audible Army Facebook group, if you're in the chat right now, they've changed our links up. Great. Thanks for that. If you're in the chat right now, I'm going to paste the link in there. If you are not watching us live, the best thing to do is go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Give us a follow there and shoot us a message with your email address, and we'll add you to the group, and you can take part in the fun. Is the Audible Army Facebook group. And while you're at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram, check our pinned stories. Get yourself some merch. Go to our TeePublic store, who are having a big sale this week for Black Friday. Get some t-shirts, get some cell phone covers, get a mug, get a hat, get some shorts, all kinds of stuff available there. But get it while the discount is good. I think they might even have like a discount and free shipping this week. So now is the time to move on that Audible Interlude merch. And if you see us at a live event, I've always got
interrupting.
Hey!
Good Reverend Scott Stripling. Not
Yo,
much,
Joe Scott Stripling.
Streaming.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Every bit helps.
Yeah, it does. I mean, literally every bit helps. Every share helps. Every like helps. All the engagement helps. So if we see you with some Audible Interlude merch out in public, you get yourself an itty bitty ditty bag. You're watching us live on the Needless Things YouTube channel right now. Tomorrow, we were just talking about this before we went on the air. My review of the HasLab Ectomobile, as they're calling it, with good reason, that I find out during my review. My review of that Ectomobile goes up tomorrow. That is the basic version. The deluxe version with the Ghostbusters 2 upgrades will be here next week. It has shipped now, but of course the holiday is delaying it just a tad. But that'll be here next week, and I'll be doing a supplemental review of that once that arrives. And also, so tomorrow's the actual car. Wednesday, I'm reviewing the figures that came with the basic version, which is Slimer, Louis Tully, and the Library Ghost. And then I'll be reviewing the Ghostbusters that come with the deluxe version after that arrives. What else is going up this week? So I've got a lot of stuff sitting here. And you know what I think I'm going to do? Because I've got one more review slot for this week. I think I'm going to let the chat decide what the other review is. So here's what I've got sitting here. Sci-Fi and Mainframe are both here. So those are two possibilities. I'm very excited about reviewing both of these. However, so this isn't going to be a review, but this is sitting here. I'll do maybe like a short about this. This is the Robo Knight Armor for the Robo Skull Mark II. So that arrived, but that's going to be its own thing. Don't worry about that. And then the other, let's see. I've got the Jungle Wolf Trooper and the Wolf Trooper. So tell me, Chad, what chat, not Chad. I don't think Chad's watching right. Chad.
He does sometimes.
What do you want that last review to be? And I did something a little unprecedented because I had so much faith in Ben at the team at Skeletron. I got 3 of these Wolf Troopers.
Ooh.
I was so excited about the product, and it's not usual for me to sort of sight unseen, not having had something in hand, just go whole hog on something like that. But yeah, so chat, you've got the Skeletron, Wolf Trooper, Jungle Wolf Trooper, or Mainframe, or Sci-Fi.
Well, real quickly, our pal Starfighter has jumped in with something I think you'll like. I can't wait for the Ecto review. I have 2 of the 4 in hand of the Mondo 1/12 scale real Ghostbusters. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, we have talked about those.
We have. Kristian and I have discussed those off air a lot. I mean, I love them. I think they look great, but I just could not justify the pricing on those. Which, you know me, I can justify some pricing.
And Brett White says the fact that you don't open the figures immediately, such patience, much envy.
Well, I mean, I have to do reviews, so I mean, I have to have the time to do the review. And if Brett, if you could see the stack of stuff that's been sitting over here for like a month, just building up, it's insane. I could, if nothing else comes in, if I don't buy anything else the rest of the year, I have enough reviews to get me through at least the second week of January right now. That's how much these companies have like jammed stuff like right here at the end of the year. It's insane.
See, yeah, I'm horrible because I have to open it. Like my Ultimate Thundercat Ultimate Cruncher came in, and he's a big chunky figure, and I knew I wouldn't have time to actually like, you know, mess around with him for a couple of days, but yeah. I was on my way to work. I couldn't stand the thought of leaving him in that package. So I literally opened him up when I got to the parking garage at work, put him in my work bag like a kid at school.
That's hilarious.
I mean, he stayed in there the whole time, but I was just like, every so often I could just open my bag, looking at me like, new toy smell.
Hi, friend.
Now,
yeah, I've been getting something from Hasbro.
Now, wait,
like,
did
daily.
you write Kristian on the bottom of his foot in black marker?
No.
Yeah, I've been getting a notification that you know, my your payment process from Hasbro Pulse like every day, because they can't just charge all the figures in one wave at once. But also, like, I got the 2 Hot Wheels Transformers that I'd ordered. They showed up on, I think, Sunday yesterday. So, you know, It's just been raining toys the last few days.
It's raining toys.
Hallelujah.
Every once in a while, though, I do get to just open something for fun. I was in Walmart the other day, and I've been eyeing those Altered Beast figures from Jack's Pacific for months, and I'm just not. I have said many times, I'm at a point where I'm not buying stuff just because it's fun or cool anymore. You just can't. But these were on clearance, so I grabbed, and am very happy that I did. I grabbed the dragon and the werewolf for $6 a piece. And they're just small. They're super articulate. They have all the same articulation of like a Marvel Legends figure or whatever. They could potentially scale with like your modern G.I. Joes. And I kind of wish because they had one dragon and they had 4 werewolves. I kind of wish I just bought all the werewolves so I could do like a little dog soldiers scenario.
I've not seen the dragon.
It's the first time I'd seen it, and it's already on clearance.
But back when they were regular priced, I did grab one of the werewolves because I was like, I need a werewolf for my O-ring Joes to be able to fight. And they're great figures. And at $6 a pop, totally worth it.
Now you're really making me wish I'd just bought all 4 of them. So let's see. So what do we got in the chat, Kristian? Have you been keeping track of what people want to see?
I have been. So far, we have Ghost Viper. We have
wait, Ghost Viper. I don't have a Ghost Viper. There was no Ghost Viper in that list.
I know. Rex Ship wants to see the Jungle Wolf Trooper. But it seems like the bulk of the people are chiming in with sci-fi.
Okay.
So you have so far, you've got Brett White mentioning sci-fi. You've got Reverend Scott Stripling mentioning sci-fi.
Well, that's fine. We can kind of keep track
Scott,
of it.
Sci-fi has the wrist radar dishes, right?
That's Psych Out.
That's Psych Out.
Who is also awesome.
Also,
and
green.
I'm sure we'll get in classified.
We'll keep track of that throughout the night. Jungle Wolf Trooper, Sci-Fi. Got me saying Psych Out. Sci-Fi or Mainframe. Last week I mentioned we did an all segments episode. It was a whole lot of fun. Check it out. I did not know this until I was looking at our sound offs, but we've got a segment for next week already as well. More on that later. Diana Davis, we got the scheduling done. I was able to interview Diana. We sat down for about an hour and had a great conversation. She is an awesome interview. That will be going up Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts, and right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Fascinating conversation with her. And our next regular live stream will be on December the 8th. So put that on your calendar. Subscribe. Be ready for more fun Audible Interlude action on December the 8th.
It's just crazy. It's almost December.
That's insane.
Madness.
Well, and Thanksgiving is so late this year, we're going to have a much narrower window between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, I never put up my Christmas decorations until after Thanksgiving, so I hate the late Thanksgiving because I feel like I just don't get enough time.
Yep. I in the same boat. I think we had the same thing last year, didn't we?
Last year it was early. It was the
20... Oh, was it early last year? Okay.
Yeah, it was the 21st. It was the first day.
Oh my gosh.
Potentially be, or no, maybe.
Yeah, it couldn't have been the 21st.
Yeah, I think it's the 22nd is the earliest it can be. So yeah, I guess it was late last year too.
But anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I can't stand a late Thanksgiving. Well, I'm not a big Thanksgiving fan in the first place, but I particularly don't like a late Thanksgiving. All right, we got a little bit of follow up. First of all, I want to mention we have talked about the wrestling heroes. These are the 3 3/4 inch Real American Heroes style wrestling figures that were being done by Pro Wrestling Tees. Those went up for pre-order as it turns out, because there was a little mix up in the communications. So they went up for pre-order to ship in December, which isn't that far off, as we were just discussing. And unfortunately, so all the pictures that we had seen, and again, this goes back to a lack of clarity in communication. All the pictures we had seen were, I'm not going to say they said they were prototypes, but they weren't specifying what we were looking at. And for my part, I assumed that nobody would release a figure with gray rivets and joints like that. I think everybody was pretty reasonable to assume that these were prototypes. Well, it turns out this is the final figure with primer gray rivets, shoulder joints, knee rivets, elbow rivets. That looks, the figures aesthetically, the form looks great, but those rivets to me are just absolutely unacceptable. So I passed on them entirely.
I was wandering around and I was like, oh, let me go check to see if those are available. And I was actually in the Aquarium of the Pacific and I couldn't get the website to work very well. And I was like, well, I'm just not going to put that much effort into this. But I did see a couple of them at Retro Toy Con this weekend. They were on a display.
Somebody had them there?
Yeah. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was on the USS Flag that was sitting between the two vendor halls.
Oh yeah,
they had a little wrestling ring set up with it, but they had a lot of
fantastic toys.
Yeah, fantastic toys, and then and a lot of Matthew LaCroix's toys were posed on the deck and everything. And I think it was I saw Macho Man wrestling with, I want to say it was Axel Foley, but it was one of the LaCroix's toys was in there with him.
I didn't even notice those on there. I stopped and talked to him, and
it changed around during the show, so they may not have been there when you saw it.
Okay. So anyway, hopefully Pro Wrestling Tees will take the feedback and will decide, to make the change that they need to make, because I want these to be successful. I want to collect these, but I'm not buying what looks like an unfinished figure. So we'll see what happens, and we'll keep everybody posted on what's going on with those. So next up, we've got a little feedback from one of the Audible Army members. Let's see here. So Silent Interlude sent me a message at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram with some good information about last week's Beyond the 80s segment. What's up? I'm listening to the latest podcast. Great work as always. Thank you very much. The 2004 convention was the one con I ever attended, and I wanted to chime in on a few things about the Dreadnought Rampage set. The $240 for the set was a premium price if you just got the set, but it also included admission to the convention, which was, I believe, 4 days at Disney. We had a dinner at the end at Epcot, and we got a killer room discount at the Contemporary, like half price. Everyone at the dinner got a special edition of Comic Pack #1 with an alternate cover. It added a lot of value to the $240 price. So that's good to know. Good information, because we definitely, or I certainly sort of stumbled over that price tag a little bit. Crusher's file card says that he took Naugahyde on an overnight hunting trip, and Naugahyde hasn't been seen since. I'm sure it was a creative way to explain the mold use decision. So that's a little justification for the look of Crusher, right? I like that. I think the Zartan was the real star of the show, as the original figure had never been redone at that point. The disappointing thing was that the mid-change figure with Hawk's body used the head of the new sculpt Zartan from 2002-ish, when they had, I think we've got a little word mix up here, when they had reused the original head with a ball joint for the 2000 Zartan. That bummed me out, in my opinion. It would have been way better. Thanks for the amazing show. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for the great information. We always love getting fan perspectives, getting details like that, personal experiences. I think anybody who's listening to the show, been listening to the show for a long time, knows we value experience and enthusiasm over everything. Like anybody can go to Yojo or Wikipedia or wherever and find like information. We're much more interested in these kinds of like personal recollections and experiences and stories. That's the kind of stuff that to me makes for a unique show. So thank you very much for that silent interlude. We really appreciate it.
I also want to add to that. If you, and not just for silent interlude, but anybody that's listening, especially in our Facebook group, if you have photos from previous JoeCons that you've gone to, or other conventions, memories, please share them, because I love that stuff. And I went to one of the ones in Orlando, and eventually one of these days need to dig up the photos to get them posted. But I love hearing about people's experiences out in the wild amongst fandom like that.
Yeah, I the first JoeCon I went to was the one in 2007. It was here in Atlanta when Roddy Piper was here. And I didn't get any pictures because at the time I wasn't really collecting much Joe. I picked up the exclusives that were there, that Roddy Piper figure that didn't inflate in value at all over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, and I went to the last two. So 2000 and was it 15 and 2016, I think, were the last two JoeCons. Or maybe it was 2016, but the last one was in Orlando before the one in Chattanooga. So
that was the Orlando one that I went to then.
Yeah,
because I remember them talking about, or it was like afterwards we saw that the next one was going to be in Tennessee, but then we also saw that it was going to be the last one.
And it was really sad because I mean that me starting to go to those regularly right when they ended, and we got Joe Fest kind of as the replacement for that. Because the following year was on the same weekend, also the same weekend as Heroes Con in Charlotte. But yeah, it was kind of the end of an era there. But those were great shows. I wish that they decided they were going to try to do that HasCon thing that did not last but 1 year.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
So they both the Transformers Collectors Club and the G.I. Joe Collectors Club got rolled into that failure. But BotCon's back at least.
Nice. I've got some Transformers adjacent news, but I'm probably going to sit on it until, well, not news, but Transformers adjacent thing to talk about, but that'll probably wait for our next live stream. So yeah, the Audible Army Facebook group is a great place. I mean, we share links for pre-orders, we share sales and all that kind of stuff. But really, it's the experiences and the fun. And customs. We're getting a lot of good customs getting shared.
Yeah, good customs.
So check it out. All right. Well, I believe that brings us to the news, of which there is not much this week, but that's okay because we've got a couple of Sound Off is huge this week, and then we've got a special segment that we're going to hit right after the news. So let's keep on chugging. The only real news is that the newest wave of Reaction Plus figures from Super 7 went up for sale, and I cannot tell you how much I love the fact that they go up for sale. It's not a pre-order. It's not something that's coming in a month or 3 months or 6 months or whatever. They put them up for sale. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Well, so the fact that the first time we saw these figures was when they were for sale.
Yeah.
Like, there was not
the first time we saw the renders of these figures.
Renders of them. But I mean, the first time you even knew they existed was, by the way, here they are. These are for sale.
Well, they did. They showed the card art for the Radioactive Snake Eyes a couple of days before the sale, but that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, it was
like, ooh, Brian knocked it out of the park again with holding on to the secrets until they drop.
Yeah, well, but that was them sharing it. It's not like it got leaked. It was Super 7 put up a post, so that was very cool. Okay, so let's talk about these. We are going to start with the Radioactive Snake Eyes. I love it. I really like the one that came with the sled, even though it doesn't glow very well. I'm curious to see if this one glows better, especially since it has red glow on the packaging. This is Sunbow as heck. It's something that everybody has done now. Super 7 did the reaction version that came with the sled. Hasbro has done the classified version that doesn't glow. That one doesn't glow at all, does it?
No.
Why is the classified team afraid of glow in the dark? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one that I want, but I have not ordered because it's
of the 4. This is the one that I had the least amount of interest in, but I did buy all 4. Just
I salute you, Noel, for your all-inness on this Reaction Plus. This is a new Noel. I love it.
Well, we'll see. There may be a stinker. There may be a stinker down the line. But I also thought, I might not complete the collection if certain ones do not become available to the wide general public. But I did manage to find that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I've got more to say about him later in the show. I might have to jump up and grab him though. Yeah, I forgot to bring him over here because I get this other massive stack of stuff. If you're just joining the show, let me know what you want to see reviewed this week. Sci-Fi, Mainframe, or the Skeletron Jungle Trooper or Wolf Trooper. Let me know.
White Vegeta says classified hands glow. Now I know they were the pink plastic, but I never noticed mine glowing. Maybe they did, but I also sold mine, so I can't.
Yeah, you just bought it for the bear.
I did.
So this is one that I will eventually own, but was not a priority right now with the deluge of stuff that's coming in. Next up, Cobra Commander, his look from the beginning of G.I. Joe, the movie with the cape. It's great.
Yeah.
I want it eventually, but again, not a priority buy for me.
It is said, yes, I don't need another Cobra Commander, but this is the one that I do need. So that look is with that cape is so iconic. So
yeah. Yes, and has been pointed out by many folks. It does somewhat resemble the 70s boogie Cobra Commander.
Yes, it does.
So that explains Wreck Ship's 3 Dog Night Cobra Commander.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah. Now Super 7 needs to sign 3 Dog Night to their music releases.
There you go.
They were the largest musical act of the 1970s, so they're probably cheap.
Arctic Scarlet, which kind of goes back to what I was saying a couple episodes ago about I'm not necessarily excited about getting all of these characters in their Arctic gear, but the figure looks great.
Yep. No, these are actually going in the order of need from least to most. So I really, really love this one.
This would be a must buy for me if it was like last year's prices.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing now that has me struggling with I mean the same sort of decision that Dave is like. I will eventually own her. I'm just not going to own her right now. Not when I see her at a con or something, that's probably when I'll pick her up.
Yeah, and it's not even that I'm waiting for like a price drop, although that would be nice. I'll pay $25 for these figures. I'm okay with that, but I don't particularly want to pay the shipping. And there's so much other stuff now. I've just got to allocate my funds. But this figure looks great. I love the translucent look of the goggles. If you get a little closer up, you can actually see her eyes behind those goggles. They're clear plastic lenses. She's got the Geiger counter, which I think is a really nice accessory to throw in there. It's a great looking figure. And then finally, to me, the star of the show and the one that I did order and pay the shipping for from Super 7, and will be here tomorrow, which is shocking because Super 7 has been a little slower with shipping the past few months than they used to be. So I'm pretty excited about that. Mara must have. She's been in all kinds of lists we've made on the show about characters we want to see in figure form. This is exciting.
Yeah, she was definitely the one that was the absolute must-have from this line. And she looks great. I love the fact they gave her the bubble helmet. I'm wondering if they'll do another variation of her later on with her civilian outfit from There's No Place Like Springfield.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, that's
you have
right
the
up
head
Super.
sculpt. You'd have to you have to do a different torso, but
yeah. Well, and as we've seen, though, Super 7 has no problem tooling up new parts for minor differences. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. I would even love to see like a con exclusive set of There's No Place Like Springfield. I think that's a cool thing that they could do. And we haven't seen anything like that. I mean, they did the set with the twins, with Tomax and Zaymot, but they haven't done any sets of Reaction Plus like they did with Reaction yet.
Yet.
So yeah, this was the must-have for me. This is the one I've got on the way that I haven't even reviewed Big Lob and Pythona. Tiger Force Duke, although I'm not sure I'm going to open him because it's been so long since I got him. There's another Target exclusive, the Serpentor that Noel just showed us. But yeah, I'm so far behind. I don't know when I'm going to get her into the lineup. But very excited to have Mara. Like I said, one of the most requested characters we've had for the figure line, for any figure line. We were talking about her for Classified. We were talking about her for Reaction. We were talking about her when Hasbro relaunched O-Rings, and we were talking about what they might do with theirs, which I don't think any of us anticipated what they did with them, but you know.
But I mean, this opens the door too, and there was again, we have a sound off later on that talks about this, and I'll go into some things with that. But I mean, there's a lot of things that have been on our bucket list for a long time, and this right here just indicates that we got a good chance of getting a lot of those other ones here soon.
So a question came up in the chat. How much shorter are the Reaction figures compared to the Reaction Plus figures? Also, do they scale well with vintage O-ring?
I can answer that question right now. Hang on just a minute. Noel and Kristian, talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I was going to say, I only have a few of the regular Reaction figures, and they are actually on a totally different shelf. So unlike any of the other 5-point articulated figures I have, I've never actually mixed the two.
Yeah, same. I've got
now with my O-rings, like the few Reactions that I have are strictly for display only purposes.
Yeah, the Reactions that I have are, I think maybe with one or two exceptions, are all still on their cards. The only ones that I've really opened are my Transformers Reaction figures. But yeah, the Reaction Plus ones, the Reaction G.I. Joe ones, I don't think I've got any mixed in, so it's hard to say. As far as Reaction Plus go, they're a little bit, I mean, they're aesthetically, they're thinner, like more like the 82, 83 Joes than like the 85, 86 Joes that got a little bit more beefed up. But they still look, fine. You can intersperse them in, like I've got my right now I've got a little display with my my rawhides, and it looks fine. That Jinx and that Falcon and Big Lob hanging out with Tunnel Rat looks good.
I think they mix well.
Yeah, they do. So okay, well,
no, we were talking Reaction Plus and O-ring.
Size-wise, they mix well. Aesthetically, you know me, I can't mix any of them.
Right.
So here is Reaction Plus Cobra Commander next to original Cobra Commander. You can see, I mean, they're really even aesthetically not that far off, but size-wise, they work perfectly together. And then Reaction Cobra Commander and original Cobra Commander. Again, size-wise, they're perfect. I mean, you can use Reaction and Reaction Plus in the original vehicles, no problem. Unless the knees have to be bent,
Right.
then obviously then your reaction doesn't work. But in most cases, you don't have to bend the knees. So yeah, they all three work, depending on what you're doing. If you want to throw a bunch of the reaction sailors in your flag, it's going to work.
Yeah, they'll just look a little stiffer.
Yeah, right. Which they're at attention.
But that's also who knows if this continues to be successful, we may get those like green shirts and sailors as well in Reaction Plus.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me a bit, because that's a good way for them to maximize their investment, is to do, as soon as you do a green shirt or a sailor or a Cobra Trooper, well, right there you have 3 variants in one tooling.
Well, I mean, with that, when they did the Royal Guard, even though it looks nothing like the original Royal Guard, I bought 4 immediately, because that original Royal Guard is so hard to find complete, because he was in a 3-pack and people troop built him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, lots of possibilities there. All right, well, that brings us to our next very special segment I'm excited about. We put a little thought into this one. We're calling this Happy Thanks Joeing. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, why didn't they call it Happy Joe Giving? But we're not giving Joes here. We're thankful for Joe. So what this segment is about, it's all about the things of this era of G.I. Joe that we're most thankful for. Each of us have put together a top 10 list of what we're most thankful for in G.I. Joe right now. And we also got input from the Audible Army that I'll be talking about after we run through ours. So, Noel, you are going to kick this thing off.
Okay.
What are you thankful for?
So you had posted something about how you were doing yours, and mine's not quite that way. I already pretty much done.
It's fine. It doesn't matter.
I also didn't do it as a top 10. I just have 10 things, and they're just on a list here, somewhat kind of, chronologically. So I will say the first thing I am thankful for is, and well, I'm thankful for it, and I'm also still mad about it, is finding Breaker and the Ram for $30 at Target right when it was coming out, because that broke me out of being a Cobra only collector for G.I. Joe Classified.
That's right. You know what? And just to rewind it back a little bit, remind the people that both of you guys, when Classified started, were very hesitant.
Yeah, I had no interest. It wasn't until I found the first Cobra Commander figure at like a was it Walgreens or CVS that had them? But it was
Walgreens was doing pretty well for a little while.
I found one like for 50% off clearance. Actually, I found 3 of them, so I bought 3 of them for 50% off clearance. And that was the first Classified figure I owned. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll just collect like the core of Cobra. So I got a Destro, I got the Baroness with the coil, and I think at that point in time I'd gotten Major Blood and Firefly. So, it's like I got my core team. That's all I need. And then Pandora's box opened. So that was my first one. Number 2 is going to be the HasLab Hiss Tank, because that is just a phenomenal toy. It funding in that record amount of time proved that G.I. Joe is this viable brand. We're going to get more of these. And it, it delivered. It was a fantastic value for what you got there.
Yeah, it's not just about the Hiss Tank being an incredible toy. It's about what it did for the Classified line.
Yep. And on that note, I'm going to add the Dragonfly to the things I'm thankful for. It took me a while to open that thing, but boy, was I happy when I did. I'm also going to add the Rattler as one of the things I'm thankful for, because we were all on the fence on it. I was the only one of the three of us that got it.
Yeah.
When that thing came to me, it wasn't like the Dragonfly. I didn't sit on it for months. I tore into that package as soon as I could, and I could not be happier. I don't have a place to put it. It's literally right here. I have to move its wings so it doesn't hit my laptop right here. But like, it's beautiful, and I love the thing. And then so I did some that were just toys. So those are 4. Number 5 is Scrap Iron. I'm a little over the deluxeification of the G.I. Joe stuff right now, but this is one that deserved it, and I thought what they did with that was phenomenal. It's one of the best sculpted toys that they've done, and the rocket launcher is such a great upgrade. It's exactly what what to me Classified is all about.
Let me throw an idea at you real quick, because this
right.
just occurred to me. So there's been a lot of talk about, because obviously a retro card back Snake Eyes version 2 is a layup. Anybody who's been collecting Classified at all, anybody with any interest in G.I. Joe would buy, however they figured it out, a retro card back style Snake Eyes version 2 that comes with timber. If they can figure out the packaging, how cool would it be to get a retro card back Scrap Iron? Because I would imagine it would be similar, however they figure it out, it would be similar to that Snake Eyes. But how cool would it be to get a Scrap Iron like that and get that thing like maybe slabbed and graded? Like if they nail it. And because the problem with Scrap Iron is he was in one of those closed boxes. So there's no way, as wonderful as that figure is, it's not a good display piece mint in box.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, just something that popped into my head. Carry on.
Yeah. I'm very thankful for Reaction Plus giving us O-ring figures in a timely manner. I didn't want to just say all of that, so I'll specifically say probably my favorites they've done thus far is the pair of the Crimson Twins. Just getting those twins in that outfit for the first time ever is great, and they look great on the shelf with a bunch of CGs, surrounding them.
Well, and the packaging, the fact that they went to the effort of doing the packaging as well.
Mm-hmm. So then we're going to get away from toys for a bit, because I have to kind of get a little mushy for a moment. I'm going to say I'm thankful for my cohort at the Finest, my Georgia Garrison, the Southern Command, which during this time has added a lot of great new members who have really helped to bring a lot of life to our shows, help us raise a lot of money for charity, help to to donate items, either the things that they've made or like toys that they've had that they just like, I'll donate this to the cause. We've raised about $1,500 this year, just over the course of 3 shows, which is about 1/8 of what our nationwide organization has done. So we've done pretty well this year, and I couldn't do it without them. I'm also going to say I'm thankful for folks like Brett Barton and Brian Cosson, who run, of course, Joe Lana Toylana, and then Retro Toy Con, for putting on these great shows that, with this era of G.I. Joe have gotten so much more popular, because G.I. Joe is now more popular than it's been in so many years. And that allows these shows to get as big as they do, even though, Toylana, Retro Toy Con, not necessarily G.I. Joe conventions, but it's a lot of Joe stuff there as well, and of course Joe Fest as well on that as well. But specifically those shows, because my Garrison represents at those shows for the Finest.
Well, and Joe Lanta, the offshoot of Toy Lanta that is G.I. Joe focused.
Yep. And then I'm thankful for the Audible Army that allows us to do this each and every week. Doing these live streams is so much fun, and then just like getting all the great feedback on the recorded episodes as well. And then one last thing I'm thankful for, right around the time that this show got started, back in 2020, or was it 2021? I can't remember, but
2020.
Well, I'm trying to remember when I actually got this, because it was shortly after we started. But my friend Doug, who lives in Seattle, was planning on moving back down here, but wanted to give me something when he got down here. Found out move was delayed. Sent me his entire box of childhood GI Joes, and I got some amazing pieces out of that, and I cannot thank him enough for just the generosity of doing that, and then spending $50-something to ship it from the Pacific Northwest to Atlanta. So those are the things that I'm thankful for from this era of GI Joe.
Very nice. Yeah, and that because your windfall happened pretty close to mine when Wilson gave me that briefcase, that Pulp Fiction-esque briefcase of GI Joe magic that jump started the collection. That's now taking up freaking like 16 square feet of space beside me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and throw mine out there. And these are kind of in an order, but the order doesn't really matter because all G.I. Joe is great.
I want to add some context real quick for our listeners and the folks in the chat. Be aware, the three of us, other than having the prompt of creating your list, we have not discussed this.
No, not at all.
At all. So I'm excited to see if there is any similarities between the lists. But if there are, it legit is purely coincidence.
Yeah, we didn't share these beforehand at all. As Noel pointed out, we barely shared the context of what the lists were expected to be, because I like to throw an idea out, and however it's received is what we get, because that's what's interesting to me, is how people interpret what you say. Like, I don't need everything to be rigid and no, you have to do this thing this way, but I did let you guys know, like, just so you'd be aware, like, yeah, you can pick a figure. You don't have to say Reaction Plus, because it makes it a broader field when you can say specific things. So I did want to let you guys know that it was broader than you might have thought it was. But yeah, very little instruction other than that, because I always want, and whoever I'm working with, whether it's you guys, the game show, or whatever, I try and keep things very, very vague, because some of the best ideas come from people misinterpreting what you said. Like some of the best games we've done at the game show have come from somebody not understanding what I was saying and coming back with something else, and like, oh wait, that's actually awesome. So that makes it more fun to me. So I'm going to start with number 10, but like I said, these are in an order, but it really doesn't matter. My number 10 is the Once a Man Cobra Commander from Classified. Not necessarily because I love the figure so much, which it's an amazing figure. It's not something I felt like I needed in Classified. I've talked many times about not necessarily wanting Sunbow in my Classified. But that Once a Man Cobra Commander was the signal of, we're getting weird. It's time to start doing that and Nemesis Immortal and Pythona and Ghost Vipers and Crystal Ball, and like that to me kicked off, like it opened a new door for what Classified could be. So that figure is very significant to me, not for what it is, but for what it represented for Classified. Next up, Wrath of Cobra, the beat 'em up game. It's so much fun. It's very basic, but it's a little slice of nostalgia, and then what else is G.I. Joe? Although we'll talk about that in a minute. But it's a blast to play. You can pick up and play for a little while, put it back down. It's just a great little game. Yes, I would love a more robust experience. I would love G.I. Joe by way of Red Dead Redemption 2. Give it to me. Yes, it's never going to happen, but yeah, I'll take it. Next up, my number 8 is Classified Sergeant Slaughter. That figure is so special to me because, one, I love Sergeant Slaughter. But the fact that they incorporated him into the line, they didn't have to. Classified would still be just as big as it is right now if they
didn't think it was going to happen. Because
right.
with
because Mattel,
with Mattel, but also with Valaverse getting getting him on board. I mean, and that was not that far of a time span between,
like a year.
But as we found out shortly after that, Sarge doesn't sign exclusive contracts. So yeah, that classified Sergeant Slaughter one, the figure is phenomenal. It's given we've gotten a couple more Sergeant Slaughter since, and whatever you think of the deco or the choices they've made, they're good figures. But I love Sarge. He's a great ambassador for GI Joe, and that figure is something very special. But again, I really am hoping for a retro cardback Sarge in the mail away gear, because that first Sergeant Slaughter is in a closed box. So there's no point in even getting him to sign it or anything, because it's a signed box. Who cares?
Right.
Next up, my number 7, the Battle Action Force Treasuries. While not strictly G.I. Joe, I do feel like they happened because of the popularity of G.I. Joe. And as we talked in our review of them, getting this look at a flavor of Joe that I had never experienced before is so much fun. And the fact that those are available is just wonderful. It's such a good time to be a Joe fan. Next up, my number 6, the Reaction Plus Fatal Fluffy. I mean, another top requested figure, certainly here on the show. Yes, absolutely. For those listening, Noel is wearing an I Heart My Fatal Fluffy shirt. Where'd you get that?
This was from, I got it at Joe Fest, and it was from, I believe, Assembly Required was selling them.
But yeah, I mean, since the show started, we've talked about Fatal Fluffy figures, in 2020, thinking, well, that's probably never going to happen. To today, where we have a Reaction Plus Fatal Fluffy, and it is not only is it not outside of the realm of possibility that Classified will do one, I would say at this point it's almost a certainty that we'll get a Classified Fatal Fluffy, because can you imagine Lenny being like, no, I'd rather not do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. Number 5, the Battle Android Trooper tooling. It's my favorite Classified figure. It's my favorite troop builder. It's so... I don't know that we've got one I consider perfect yet, but I love every bat that they've released. I love that they've released so many of them, and that retro cardback one that just came out is to me the best one. It's great, but all of those bat figures are just so good. Yeah, I don't like the backpack, but other than that, that Classified bat is just it's beautiful. Number 4, the retro cardback Duke. Because of, again, I mean, the figure is great, but it was more about what it signified to the line, that we're going to take this retro cardback idea, and instead of just doing these garbage cards and making it Walmart exclusive, we're going to make an opportunity to revisit characters that deserve it, to get a second shot at some characters. And while some of them are just repaints or whatever, and some of them have been complete misses, in my opinion, that Cobra Trooper is a whiff. But that Classified Duke shows us when they put their mind to a second shot at something, they can nail it. The Scarlet is also fantastic, but that hole in her waist drives me crazy.
It's called the belly button.
No, nobody's belly button is there, Kristian. And if it is, you need to go talk to your doctor. Number 3, back to Reaction Plus, the Reaction Plus Pythona. I mean, I don't even need to say anything else. Number 2, the Art of G.I. Joe Compendium from Carson Metaxas, a landmark of G.I. Joe media, something that I have been asking for ever since Dark Horse put out the first Masters of the Universe book. I've been saying, why can't somebody do this for Joe? And Carson stepped up with the help of countless individuals. But Carson stepped up and provided the ultimate G.I. Joe resource. It is a must-have for any G.I. Joe fan. And if you didn't get one, it's a shame, because he sold out. But it's an indispensable source of reference. It's beautiful. It is the pride of my G.I. Joe collection.
And for what it is, it was a bargain. Like it blew my mind what value that thing had for $100. Like what you get for that.
Well, and guess what? That value, that price, I wish I had ordered 10 of them. Although I don't know where I don't think my house has the structural integrity to store 10 of them.
You got to live on a concrete slab.
Right.
It's like Pee-wee's Christmas special. You built an entire add-on to your house just out of the art of G.I. Joe omnibuses.
Right. And then finally, the number one thing I'm most thankful for of this era of G.I. Joe, and this one is a little more broad, but I had Skybound. The fact that Robert Kirkman got that G.I. Joe license, and Larry Hama is continuing to tell G.I. Joe stories. The Energon universe is like nothing we've seen before, is having success integrating these brands we love in ways we never imagined possible. It's incredible. And my relationship with the Skybound creators is the interviews that I've gotten, the communication I have with their representatives is just unbelievable to me. The fact that I can, hit certain people up and ask them questions about stuff is wild. So check out my recent interview with Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley and all of the other Skybound interviews I've had the opportunity to do. But that, to me, as great as Classified is, as great as Super 7 has been with G.I. Joe, the Energon universe is the thing that I think I get the most excited about. It's the thing that inspires me the most. It's the thing that I think, talk about the most, like have the most thoughtfulness and engagement with. It's just fantastic. All right, Kristian.
2 issues a month is making it, is forcing us to do even more.
Yeah, we're slowly turning into the Energon universe interlude. Kristian, what you got?
Oh, hold on a second. Oh, there we go. I was trying to move my list over and it closed out. Okay.
No.
I know. I panicked for a moment. All right. So my 10 things I am thankful for in this era. Number 10, face sculpts with personality. I was thinking about a lot of the figures like Flint, Ripper, Scrap Iron. I know, the old O-ring figures, you were beholden to what technology could do at this time, but we actually have G.I. Joe figures that look like they have lived in this universe. They're not all just young kids. And I love that. Number 9 is the Hiss Tank HasLab. It blew away the expectations to become one of the most successful HasLabs ever. And more than that, it showed that there was a desire for 1/12 scale vehicles in a way that Star Wars Black wishes its fandom would support.
Sick burn.
Or
that Tron wishes their fandom would support.
Oh, does that end tonight, or is it?
Sure does.
Oh my goodness!
It was at like 1300 last time I checked, which was earlier today.
The Simpsons meme. Stop it! He's already dead.
13:57 with 3 hours remaining.
Oh boy!
As these guys have said, if it's just such a great centerpiece, and if it was the only vehicle that we ever got in this line, what a way to do it.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Lenny. So, I mean, add to that sort of the whole team, but Lenny especially, because he has a love and reverence for the Joe line that is so genuine. And when you've been a toy collector and you've listened to interviews or read things from people that have been like, in charge of lines, and they talk about, I loved this when I was a kid. I don't know. A lot of times it comes across as PR mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
But with Lenny, you can see it in his face when they do the live streams and he's holding up figures or telling you about, his childhood love for Road Pig. And I may not agree with every single change that he has made to update characters, but you can tell that he genuinely comes from a place of wanting the best for that character, not just the toy line.
Well, it goes back to enthusiasm. I would rather listen to or get product from somebody who loves Flint's character design than somebody who knows what kind of shells are in Flint's web gear.
Exactly. Yep. Number 7, Skybound Clutch.
Move over,
he
shipwreck.
has jumped
Right?
being a character that, I mean, I had really no interest in. I was even thinking about, like, back when I was a kid. I mean, Clutch was a driver. That was pretty much it. But he has become one of my top 5 favorite Joes. And when new issues come out, he is the one character that I am the most eager to see what is going on with him. He started out as sort of like the wild card, to me, the shipwreck replacement in the Duke miniseries, personality wise. But we have seen from Rock and Roll's death to the time that he spent hiding away in the Cobra Fortress, the effects that has on somebody. And he still has this fun and quirky personality, but so far, he's really the only Joe that we've got to see any sort of PTSD from.
Yeah.
And I think that is important.
And now he's got this relationship with Hound that, we're still trying to parse through. And
exactly. It's a crazy world they live in, and he is open to everything in it. My number 6 is a little more vague than how Dave put it, but my number 6 is the growing fan base for Action Force. Sure. When I go on eBay now, my dreams of owning some of those things has died a very quick and painful death. I will cherish you always, my $10 Muton. But I love seeing the fandom embrace not just Action Force, but also the other foreign editions of the Joe characters. I mean, we got Glinda with the Dragonfly. I never would have imagined that would have happened. We got Quarrel, I want to see more of this. I'm so thankful. I put in here that the Action Force omnibuses are out there so that people can read these stories, and it is just as accessible as the Marvel stuff. My number 5 is embracing the weird. When we started this podcast, people's opinion of Cobra Law was not nice, to say the least. And now we have a fandom that embraces Cobra Law in the comics. They embrace Dark Energon in the toy line. We have a real life Cold Slither band putting on actual real life concerts. And here on the podcast, the listeners have at least some sort of appreciation for me, because I do get feedback for some of the crazier things we talk about, and a love for Deke that has kind of been, one of those parts that G.I. Joe fandom kind of swept under the rug, and it might have its faults, but man, there's some just out there stories that I think we would not have been exposed to otherwise if we had not started embracing the weird.
We've found a lot of absolutely terrible garbage in Deke, but we've also had a lot of fun with it.
Right. And this leads directly into my number 4. I don't think Joe fandom would be embracing the weird as much if it was not for the passion of Brian Flynn. Without him, I do not think Classified, even with everything going on in Skybound, I do not think Classified would have shifted to Cobra Law as quickly as they did. We know for a fact we would not have had Cold Slither.
Right.
So between G.I. Joe Ultimates, that was going to fill a super Sunbow niche that now Classifieds is doing. So I kind of feel like Brian Flynn has always been a man that's ahead of the curve. It goes back to that passion thing. He does what he loves, and what he puts out there is what he wants to see. And surprisingly, he knows that a lot of fans, it's their guilty pleasures as well. And once it's out there, everybody is like, oh, again, Amara figure. We've talked about it for years. Who was going to do it?
Look, we've keep going. I'm going to try and think of how I want to phrase that.
Yep. Okay. My number 3, the Skybound shared universe, showing fandoms how to do a shared universe the correct way.
Right.
It is shared in a way that if you read everything they put out, you absolutely get a 3-course meal with a slice of cantaloupe at the end. You're full, to parody The Simpsons. But if you don't want to read all the books, you still get all the information you need in the books that you are reading to enjoy them. And they give you just enough information if there is something you need to know that's going on in one of the other books. You can have a throwaway line in the G.I. Joe comic about Stalker and them going to clean up the robot mess in Chicago without having to have, a 15-part crossover.
Right.
So I love that. And every single one of the Skybound books, killer. And it feels, I think, the different aspects of all the various fandoms. Number 2, taking characters that I don't care about and making them into must-haves in my collection. I am looking at you, Sand Viper. I am looking at you, Frag Viper. I am looking at all the Bat variations I own, and I don't even own as many as Dave. But especially going back to the O-rings, looking at stuff like the Mega Marine Vipers, the Built to Rule stuff that when I was younger, you were just too cool for, and now getting to see and hear other people in the fandom's love and appreciation for these things, it sparks something in me, and I'm very incredibly thankful for that.
Just to plug the Diana Davis interview again real quick, that's one of the things we talked about is how wonderful it's been since we started this show, getting to know and becoming aware of the generation of Joe fans after us who grew up with the Deke cartoon or grew up with those 90s look, or like that Desert Camo Duke was their Duke. Like, getting to know and appreciate that era of fandom has been awesome.
So there is, and this ties into my number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and say my number 1, and that is the Audible Army. And you guys, the Army, I am not including me and Dave and Noel in this. you guys have created a fandom that does not gatekeep, that is open to every iteration of Joe out there, and you love sharing your passion about what you love about GI Joe. There are times on this podcast when we have seen a new figure announced and I have been like, meh, not for me. I mean, pretty much anything with Ninja Force slapped on it. And well, I'll use Budo as an example. I got messages from people bummed, not angry, not mad, bummed that I wasn't going to get Budo, or that I had no sort of attachment to Budo. And then they were telling me all the things they loved about the character, you know, when they were younger. And it's like, oh, now I'm hearing all of this. I'm still not going to say I'm going to get him, but I have a new appreciation for it. So yeah, so that is my top 10.
So we have, now that we've shared ours, we've got some commentary from the Audible Army, who when Noel mentioned the Audible Army, I actually slipped Sergeant Slaughter back onto my list. I was like, well, now I don't have to mention Audible Army. But yes, obviously, as we say every single time we record, the Audible Army is who makes this all possible for us to keep doing. And speaking of them, we've got some commentary from the Facebook group. Travis Fearburn, I am thankful that they are still dedicated to this line and have not killed it off yet. Also, I'm thankful for the dedication and excitement that the Hasbro design team and Lenny brings to it. I am thankful that there is a plan to give us most of the characters that we had in 1980's Real American Hero and love the retro looks. Thankful for HasLabs and also the made to order. Lastly, I am thankful that they have 2 ongoing comics to keep the property current. We had a few years where we thought the end was here, but the 6-inch scale has opened the doors. Now there are many that know nothing about the property, but collect it due to them looking great and also fitting well with Marvel Legends. Tom Lazit, I'm thankful for the Energon Universe G.I. Joe comic books. I'm not really buying the figures anymore, but one of the highlights of my month is picking up the book. And now it's every 2 weeks, plus the Audible Interlude reviews. Speaking of which, we will have another one next week for G.I. Joe number 15. Jonathan Childress. I'm most thankful that the classified line, while not perfect by any means, continues to shine as a standout among the other similar Hasbro brands and will hopefully continue on for at least a few more years before Hasbro puts it back on the shelf to collect dust again. LOL, squinty laughy face. The emoji king, our little wreck ship is. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Road Pig is the emoji king. Wreck Ship is but an apprentice. Jim Humphreys. Since I'm not a big classified collector, I'm really thankful for the indie O-ring lines carrying the torch for us old guys. Jesse Gilmore. I'm thankful we are getting characters from all over the Real American Hero line and classified, not just the usual 10 or so Hasbro always makes and reshuffles. I'm also thankful for the resurgence of O-ring figures, both from Hasbro licensing, but all the independent lines and Kickstarters. Also, saw someone else mention, so I needed to add, I'm so thankful for the Joe team at Hasbro. From Lenny on down, you can tell they have actual love the brand and treat with respect as having grown up with the characters. I'm really thankful for the marketing team of Emily and BMAC too, as they show the line a lot of love and are also way more entertaining to watch than the other Hasbro teams.
Truth.
Brett White, everyone check out Pop Heist. I'm most thankful for the acceptance, embrace, and celebration of the more bizarre parts of G.I. Joe. The way Skybound, Hasbro, and Super 7 all feel in lockstep, unintentionally, re Cobra La, Sunbow, the 90s designs. It makes the franchise feel fun in a way that it hadn't for me in decades. It's comforting to know that Joshua, Lenny, Brian, and all the others have a love for this franchise that goes beyond just wanting super accurate military toys. I would not be here if I hadn't seen Cobra La in Cobra Commander #1, or if Hasbro hadn't put their whole marketing might behind a live Cold Slither concert, or if Super 7 wasn't making O-ring action figures of ignored icons like Big Lob and Pythona. It's fun. And finally, David Finn. For me, it's classified. I love the figures overall, and it's totally spurred into full Yo Joe. So there you go. That is some feedback we got from the Audible Army Facebook group. Speaking of feedback, it is now time for the most popular segment of the show, the one where the Audible Army gives us cues. Oh, Kristian?
Let me interrupt real quick because we do have one from the chat.
Yes.
Our buddy Starfighter said, I am thankful as well for the third-party companies that help enhance our figures and vehicles. I just received the Spear Turret for my Vamp Awe Triker today. And I had third-party. It was like right on the bubble there. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, and that really is a good point. As much as I'm not, well, okay, so O-rings, obviously third party stuff, which I don't really think of that as third party, because they're doing their own thing. But Gridiron and Ramen Toys and all of these that are making things that kind of support the classified line. It has absolutely helped the brand grow. It is critical that people who are into customization and upgrades and all that kind of stuff, that's a big part of the industry now. You know, we talk about toy photography all the time, but customizers are also toy photography. Customizers are also a huge part of the toy industry in general. And the fact that we've got people doing things specifically for Joe is very important. So great call out. All right. So to move on, it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Sound Off, where the Audible Army gives us cues of what to talk about, some mental exercises, and possibly just some in general bad ideas. So let's move into Sound Off. If you would like to participate, follow Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. And every time we're doing a live stream, we'll put up a Sound Off post requesting feedback from the Audible Army, and we'll respond to it right here live on the show. First up, Scott Stripling Art. Which Joe Cobra brings what for Thanksgiving feasting? Roadblock has the turkey covered, obviously. Who has a good grandma's stuffing recipe? Who just brings the can of cranberry slop? And I'm going to stop you right there, Scott Stripling. How dare you? I cannot have a Thanksgiving without the can of cranberry sauce that plops out into the nice glass dish and retains the shape of the can, and you slice it into those circles. I have to have my cranberry gelatin every Thanksgiving. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good homemade cranberry sauce as well, but I have ruined Thanksgiving. This isn't true. I have ruined Thanksgiving over not having canned cranberry sauce. So you watch yourself, buddy. Who spikes the eggnog? Thank you and happy holidays, guys. So this is fun. This is a good. We always like our timed sound offs. So I've got some answers for this one. As far as the stuffing, well, I had to do a little research here. I am from North Carolina, and I have very specific tastes as far as stuffing goes, stuffing/dressing. And I have found that stuffing and dressing varies regionally quite a bit. So I chose Cross Country to bring the stuffing because he is from North Carolina, just like I am. He's from Greensboro, which is not so far from, well, I've got family in Greensboro. But I picked him because I think he's the most likely Joe to have a stuffing that is close to what I grew up with and what I want stuffing to be. So that's my answer for the stuffing. Sergeant Slaughter is going to bring the cranberry can of cranberry sauce, because just like he did in the comics, he's going to show up just in the nick of time to save the day.
He's going to open it with his bare hands.
Yes, absolutely. And then finally, who spikes the eggnog? Well, obviously, Snowjob spikes the eggnog, because I've heard he likes to drink quite a bit. What did you guys have for this?
So I have, and I expanded. I had a few other side dishes that had to go with our Thanksgiving table as well. Scarlett, of course, is going to bring her Southern style cornbread stuffing, because it is legendary. We're going to have also some other things. Gung Ho brings some deviled eggs covered in paprika and pure Cajun fury.
Solid.
Yeah. Doc, he brings a nice salad. Snake Eyes shows up, silently places 3 baskets of perfect hot dinner rolls on the table. No one knows where they gets them. Nobody questions it. Shipwreck is going to be the one that brings our cranberry slop, but Polly winds up eating most of it. Quick Kick is responsible for desserts. He thought he was going to bring a pumpkin pie. Nope, he brought a bunch of leftover frozen fudgy bars. And finally, who spiked the eggnog? It was Footloose, except it was spiked with ayahuasca rather than booze.
Oh my
everybody
gosh.
goes on to a trip.
Wow. That's intense. Up until the ayahuasca part, I could literally like visualize everything you were saying, and now that it just went off the rails. I feel like not for a drug reference, obviously, but I feel like weirdness wise, like you kind of took on Kristian's persona for that last pick and going like completely outside of the box left field.
Hey,
so well
man, just enjoy the eggnog, man.
done.
Yeah, mine is way simple, because I had Thunder, because he's from Kentucky, so he's going to have stuffing that has sausage in it. So you would think I would say that it's Shipwreck who spikes the eggnog, but also thinking of Thanksgivings in Kentucky, Shipwreck doesn't bring anything to spike it. He just brings the Pabst Blue Ribbon and drinks. And unfortunately, I was trying to think which of the Lady Joes would have something delicious to bring, and none of them with their backgrounds, I feel like, would actually be a good cook. So that honestly just left me with Gung Ho, who knows it's not going to be the best Thanksgiving. So he just brings a big old pot of gumbo and everybody eats that.
I would prefer that to most standard Thanksgiving fare.
Well, Lady J is from Massachusetts, where the first Thanksgiving took place, so she probably has some Thanksgiving up her sleeve somewhere.
Okay. She's also with Flint, and I feel like he's the homebody.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of agree with that.
Flint was also one that I thought could bring the cranberry, the can of cranberry sauce, and just be like, here's my contribution, and just set it down.
I like Wreckship says, note, Shipwreck definitely just bought that cranberry slop from the PX store on base minutes prior.
Yeah, I can buy that too.
He didn't know if he was going to go or not, and then was like, oh, I have to bring something.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Wreckship. Speaking of Wreckship, we had at least one Sunbow episode around the Christmas holiday, and only one, which is kind of surprising. But what about Thanksgiving? Please come up with a simple or complex plot line surrounding some part of the Thanksgiving holiday. For example, the food, the theme, the history, the mascots, the parade, etc. We're going to keep this relatively brief because we could do a whole episode coming up with some kind of crazy plot for this. I'm just going to say that Falcon and Duke get in a fight at Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, relatives fighting at Thanksgiving. What is more traditional than that? Kristian, what do you got?
Okay, then I'm going to read this in my best blur speed.
Oh boy.
I had way too much fun
my
with this one.
gosh.
Yeah, so did
Okay. CoverGirl takes Shipwreck and Grunt back home to her families for Thanksgiving since they have no one. Little do they know that Mindbender and Scrap Iron have switched out the parade floats with a Horn of Plenty that shoots corn-on-the-cob missiles and a turkey with hypno rays to turn the small town into willing Cobra agents. Due to his jealousy of Grunt, Shipwreck engages in some Keystone Cop antics to get CoverGirl's attention during the parade and crashes down a clown car into the Golly Gravy Tower, with gravy pouring down and short-circuiting the Hypno Turkey and Bat Soldiers, while Grunt and CoverGirl manage to set the Horn of Plenty on fire, resulting in a popcorn explosion. And how do we turn corn-on-the-cob missiles into popcorn? Sunbow magic.
Wow. Throw up Nowhere Man-Child's comment there. I really like that.
A follow-up to the two-part Captives of Cobra episode where we revisit some of the Joe's families from that story.
That's a great idea.
That's a good one. All right, so mine also involves a parade. Cobra has infiltrated the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They insert their own balloons that are filled with mind control gas, and Cobra Commander threatens to unleash them if the U.S. government does not surrender to Cobra. Cobra Commander is flying around on a 60-foot Snoopy balloon as if it were a fighter jet. Meanwhile, Destro has hacked the parade broadcast to present a special entitled Snakesgiving, the only holiday worth celebrating. The Joes are scrambling to evacuate the crowds and regain control of the parade systems. Lady J and Dalton are attempting to decipher Cobra's broadcast jamming signal. Baroness rides in on a giant Garfield float, firing lasers at the Joes while shouting, "I despise Mondays" and G.I. Joe. Roadblock and Gung Ho commandeer the Tom Turkey float at the beginning of the parade and discover that Cobra has actually planted a giant laser cannon in its beak. They use it to fight off the Hiss tanks and the incoming Rattlers. Roadblock quips, "This bird is stuffed with trouble." Alpine Bazooka Quick Kick use jetpacks to push the tainted floats to a safe position where they get blown up. Cobra Commander, of course, is desperate. He takes his Snoopy balloon and begins a final attack run, but Wild Bill swoops in with a dragonfly, clips Cobra Commander's control rig, sends the villain spinning skyward while he shouts, "Curse you, Joes! I knew I hated beagles!" With the crisis over, the parade resumes, slightly chaotic and little things a little disheveled. The mayor, of course, thanks the Joes for their efforts. He quietly notes, however, next year the Snoopy float might not be back. The Joes celebrate with a Thanksgiving dinner. Roadblock begins carving a turkey and says, "Now this is the kind of bird that I like dealing with." And
love it.
You guys are amazing and clearly had a lot more bandwidth than I had today.
That took like an hour. I'm not proud of it.
No, that's amazing. That's great. All right. Moving on. Brett White. Everybody check out Pop Heist. Where did y'all come up with your code names? And then an addendum, or how? I feel like that was a very Tennessee way to ask that question. Well, Noel, you want to start this one?
The other one I wanted to use was not PG, so at least it wasn't in 2020.
Yeah, we knew from the start. We wanted to keep it as family friendly as possible. Like, the occasional innuendo, but we wanted to be family friendly.
Yeah, my other one started the first half of the code name was another word that is a simile of the one that I used.
And Kristian?
So for mine, many years ago, I was a part of the Dragon Con 300, which is a costuming group that does the Spartan Army from 300. So I'm a big fan of Legion of Superheroes. And then, of course, Legion kind of going along with that whole theme. And I also am never going to be big enough to be a bear. I am merely a cub. So I'm Legion Cub.
And that's the first time I've heard that story.
Oh.
I didn't know where that came from because it's always just been your handle. I didn't know. Mine, Phantom Troublemaker, originated from coming up with a name for a creator wrestler in, oh gosh, I guess No Mercy was the first. I think that was the first one I could use it. So it was just a masked version of me. And then later, when I actually started wearing a wrestling mask and hosting stuff, I started using that just as my secret, or my identity, my nom de plume, as it were. So that's where that came from. You can learn more in the fantastic documentary Troublemaker.
Yeah, I didn't really have one on tap like you guys did. So I was basically like thinking of the G.I. Jeff episode and thinking about like the wacky code names and like something that would go along and fit that scheme. So
we should have Scott Stripling do little mini comics of our origins, like just a little one page, like card back style. So yeah, that's where those come from. Sneezy the Squid, our pal Gary from the Dragon Con American Sci-Fi Classics track. With Mask entering the Energon universe, does this feel like the retroverse that was discussed back when Classified was starting is finally happening? If so, would you want them to bring in the Inhumanoids, Micronauts, or Visionaries? Cobra. Well, it doesn't really feel like the retroverse, because if you remember, that was my dream, I guess, based on a term that Emily used a couple of times during live streams. But yes, they're integrating these brands, and of course we want them to bring in, I mean, specifically Inhumanoids, but Micronauts, Visionaries, sure. I mean, look, I have always felt that, Inhumanoids were already tied to Joe in the Sunbow universe. Mask makes sense because it's a combination of potentially Cybertronian technology and Earth technology, and then Visionaries can kind of spring out of Mask with the hologram technology. Like, I have always seen connections between these brands. So yeah, bring them all in. Take your time, make it a good story.
I disagree with you
about all of them, or just
not about all of them. So even when IDW tried to do the whole shared universe amongst all the Hasbro properties, I do not like the idea of Visionaries being beholden to anything from quote unquote current times, whatever current times are.
Were they a different?
They were. So it takes place in sort of like a future where technology died off, so everything reverted sort of back to that sword and sorcery. So you had magic prevailing, and then there are certain characters that the main Merlin is able to imbue with magic that can make only certain technology work. So it's not like you have a fleet of Skyclaws. You have one person whose magic is able to power that Skyclaw. If he is not in that vehicle, it cannot work. So you don't have like computers and all this other sort of stuff. So I've always felt like Visionaries needs to be on its own to retain that.
Let me pitch you this. Visionaries stays in the far, far, far future. The magic / technology that they use is based on one of the synthetic Energon variants that are created over the course of what we're seeing in the Energon universe now. And it is also where Mask gets their holographic capabilities.
Maybe.
And then far, far in the future, it just happens to be that same Energon that's perceived as magic by those people.
Maybe. I just don't know how you get to dragons exist. Like mythical creatures exist in this world. So I had on here to take visionaries out, but put ROM in their place because ROM is a Hasbro property.
Mm-hmm.
Because that opens you up to that sci-fi element, and it lets us bring in aliens for G.I. Joe, not just dire wraiths, but if you want to bring in
The
the
Lunatic Empire.
Technically, we've already got aliens.
Right.
True.
Yeah, we have them with Void Rivals and all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good point.
My thing was, this isn't. I don't know if it's necessarily the retroverse. It's just this is media conglomeration, and I'm all for that sort of thing. And my answers to the three were, hell yes, maybe, and nah. I don't care for visionaries in my G.I. Joe comics.
Well, I'm not saying it would be in anything going on that's in modern Energon universe, but it would be a far-flung connection to it.
Reverend Scott Stripling says we need to integrate Turbo Teen.
No, get out.
That was when they tried to do like weird Transformer human crossovers, and it's out of hand.
Whatever you do, don't look up Pixar Cars Homunculus. Don't do it. Knox Levitt unfortunately commented on Threads. Knox, I have to tell you, I don't have Threads anymore. I don't check Threads anymore. It's the most regrettable social media thing. There's just no point. But we'll answer as best we can. So Knox Levitt 1 replied to the thread that I posted because it's just still connected and it's too difficult to disconnect it from Instagram. Cobra Commander, did he change in the Marvel run? Yes, he did. Tom Henry, chances of me getting a classified Fang before the end of 2025 seem slim. Yes, they do. What are the odds in 26? Hashtag Fang 2025. Hashtag our hashtags pointless. Hashtag does Lenny hate me? I think the chances of you getting a Fang in 2026 are 100% unless they're lower. Hashtags are pointless, and Lenny, yes, does hate you. Silent Interlude, who took up every bit of space you could possibly get into a screenshot on Instagram. Sound off, and this is fantastic and is setting the stage for the next 3 segment episodes we have, by the way. Sound off, Let's Freaking Go Ring spinoff. Create your own concept edition. I'm pitching Chaos at the North Pole, and this is inspired by our review of Dreadnought Rampage. I'm pitching Chaos at the North Pole, featuring 6 Snow Serpents, version 1, 6 Ice Vipers, and an Arctic Breaker, Stalker, and Duke in Arctic gear. Stalker would have a white beret or with a beret, and Duke in the Arctic gear would have a white base with gray digital camo. Extra vehicles would be the Polar Battle Bear with Snow Job, digital Arctic camo, and an Arctic version of the Imp with scrap iron in snow colors. The last special figure will be Yukon, a new character which is just a kit bash homage to Yukon Cornelius from Rudolph. That's awesome. Frostbite version 3 head, dusty torso, steamroller waist, and whatever suitable arms and legs, all done in vintage mold O-rings, of course. So this is a fantastic idea. I love this set that you put together. And we will be taking turns doing this as our Let's Freaking Go Ring segment over the next 3 audio episodes. So Kristian and Noel, if you already came up with ideas for this, then just save them and you have less work to do over the next 6 weeks.
Unfortunately, I themed mine to Thanksgiving, so
well,
I'm gonna have to shift that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's it. Well, real quick, go ahead, since it's Thanksgiving, go ahead and do yours, and then you'll just have to do another one.
I guess so. All right. So let me go back to it because I actually found the threads, Knox Levitt one's threads. I can read the whole post if you'd like.
No, we're past it.
All right.
Nobody respond on threads.
So this is for Thanksgiving. We get some nice muted fall colors in a set I call Pilgrim Strike. The leader is Duke in in like pumpkin pie colors. Duke is the leader of Pilgrim Strike because, well, his name is Duke, and he does kind of sound a little like John Wayne sometimes when he talks. So, Pilgrim. So I kind of tied all that together. He is joined by Lady J, who is also, of course, in some fall colors. Roadblock, who is serving also as the chef because this takes place at Thanksgiving. So he's got the turkey accessory with him. Spirit, of course, because you can't do a Thanksgiving set without having Spirit. Somebody's got to be there to like guide the rest of them through like how to do this all properly. And then finally, an original character by the name of Major Mayflower. He's going to have the head of Ambush, the torso of Pathfinder, and then whatever other arms and legs go with him. But I thought that the head of Ambush would work with a Mayflower themed character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so now I got to come up with new ones for whenever we do this on the regular segments.
Well, we'll save you for last, so you've got plenty of time to come up with something new. All right, Road Pig John, who are your top 4 G.I. Joe characters to be in the next Super 7 Reaction Plus line, guys? If they continue the movie direction, I will say Globulus, Shipwreck, Sergeant Slaughter, and Vipers. So while Sergeant Slaughter, I would love to see a Sunbow Sergeant Slaughter from Reaction Plus. There are some other things that I kind of put higher up on my list just for mine. Globulus, agree with you 100%. I am dying to see a Reaction Plus Globulus and how they handle him. I also want Nemesis Enforcer because we might as well round out the Cobra Law releases while we're here. I want, and I think I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, I want a first appearance Cobra Commander. Like the Cobra Law Cobra Commander, like we see him in that lab when he's doing the flashback.
Yep.
And then just for the 4th, because I couldn't quite come up with anything else that was super exciting, but I wanted something different. Chuckles, because I want a big Chuckles.
Yeah.
I would love to see like a big Sunbow sized Chuckles. I think.
Well, I have a feeling we're gonna wind up getting. We got to get all the raw hides at some
point. Right. I think they're definitely headed down that path. What about you guys?
So I didn't go with the movie, but I was thinking of like things that would tie together in like one series, and I actually I have 2 sets. Number one is the Revenge of Cobra series. So this is the Weather Dominator series. You get how you're getting your Honolulu West because you got to have her.
Yeah.
You're getting Flint in his Cobra gear. I thought him and Mutt would be too much. You're getting the Arctic version of Zartan in his winter coat, and then you're going to finally get that Sunbow Breaker, so your gray breaker for O-Ring.
Oh yeah.
The other option, and we talked about it briefly before, was No Place Like Springfield, because I mentioned getting Mara, like a housewife version of Mara, along with Shipwreck with his bandaged head and his his street clothes, a Cadet Deming, because I feel like we're going to get her at some point in time, and then finally for the rounding it out is going to be Doc in his like plain doctor's like.
Oh yeah.
Coat. Yeah, so just like
I like that.
Doc.
Good call. That's solid. Kristian.
So I approached this, even though it said next 4 figures in the wave, I approached it from the Brian Flynn logic of we try to keep waves at a certain price point. So if there's something deluxe, that means they adjust it as opposed to making a wave way more expensive.
So you're putting a repaint in there?
No. I have. Honestly, to keep the price point, it's 2 figures, but I'm putting 3 in there. So we're getting a Nemesis Enforcer.
Okay.
He's going to be larger, like Raymar. More movie cartoon accurate with actual scary looking bat wings, not the ones that came with Hasbro.
Yeah.
We are getting the Cobra Trooper from the beginning of the movie, because we need the Sunbow Trooper in O-ring form. And lastly, only because this is what I fell asleep to yesterday when I got home from work and am now obsessed, Serpent Man and his snake sled as a deluxe figure from the Deke episode Injustice for All,
Yeah.
with a swappable spoiler ruining head.
I like it. Throw up Nowhere Man-Child's. There, I dig that.
What about Worlds Without End, Dead Skeletons, Steeler, Grunt, and Clutch? Yes.
That's messed up. Do that as a little exclusive 3-pack or something. I'm into that.
Well, and I kind of want that Steeler figure with like the crazy sunken eyes. As
Yeah.
Going into madness.
Yeah. Hillbilly Harper, just wanted to thank y'all for reviewing Dreadnought War. I was never a fan of the Dreadnoughts till I heard y'all talking about them. Thanks. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Hillbilly. Everybody check out Podcast from the Pit, wherever you get your podcasts. White Vegeta, with the ramen tanks in hand and the Arctic Hiss on the horizon, what other vehicles do you want as a made-to-order? I don't want any more vehicles. I mean, look, with this made-to-order model, we're getting a White Hiss. Could they do a Tiger Fly? Could they do a Tiger Sting? Could they do? I mean, those things seem like no-brainers, but at the same time, with pricing and shelf space a consideration, I don't know. This is kind of a tough question, because I don't know that right now, with between the economy bombing and tariffs and everything else, it's very difficult to predict what makes sense for a toy company to do.
I had a hard time with this one only because most of what I was thinking I still want out of the line were actually released as smaller vehicles. There's not many that are, considered big.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of how they did the Sentinel for the X-Men 97 line as a made to order. So I think that would be a way to get us the water moccasin, since they've already given us Copperhead and Python Patrol Copperhead. So just make the water moccasin without any sort of pilot, offer it on the website.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like, and that's one I would like to have. As much as I don't want vehicles, that one, like, size-wise,
We haven't
I
done
love that one.
Any boats yet.
No, we haven't, and I wonder if that Fortnite boat has anything to do with that decision.
Well, as I said, we're one Devilfish and one Water Moccasin away from having the entire Tiger Force classified lineup at this point. We've done the Tiger Paw, but I wasn't crazy about the original Tiger Paw. I want it in like more original, like bright popping colors. So, you know what? I don't know if I could have logistics to keep them all somewhere in this house, but I wouldn't mind having like Tiger Force versions of everything.
So Lenny, just make a note, Tiger Rat up next for Noel.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe Collector 76. What's a storyline from the Real American Hero comic line that deserves more attention in new media, Skybound, Classified, etc.? What'd you guys have for this?
Okay. So I went with Skybound because I don't know how you would do this necessarily in toy form. Because it's more of a vague sort of notion, but some of my use my words. The last issue of the original Marvel run is a storyline that deals with should you or should you not go into the armed forces. Recently, Larry Hama did an arc in the Skybound Real American Hero run that dealt with Don's family in Springfield and how do you escape from that, and when your neighbors turn on you, kind of thing. So when I read this, I kept thinking, we don't ever see much involving the other Joes families. And I wonder what kind of impact being a Joe has on their families. Do they lose connection? Are they considered, not MIA, but just, they have that government job and they're never around? Are their families ever in any danger? Like, that is a bridge I would like to see crossed in the Skybound.
What was that? Gotham Central? Is that comic that was just followed like the GCPD?
Yeah.
What if they did something like that, and it would be more of an anthology type thing? Like each issue might focus on a different Joe family, but it was just a series of one shots under, the whatever you call the title. It's getting late. I can't think of anything clever.
Yeah.
But an ongoing series, but each issue dealt with a different Joe's family and how that affected them.
Or even someone who's a Cobra.
Like, yeah.
Just think, I
like that.
I would love that.
Yeah. I also chose something a little more recent. We talked about it at the time when we were still discussing the current ongoing Real American Hero. I would love to see the zombie bomb Fallout Cobras in Classified. I think they would have a blast sculpting those. Serpentor, Mindbender, just some random Cobra troops, like kind of along the lines of the Mole Rat almost. I would love to see those. I think that would be cool.
Just from like what I'm thinking about the storylines in the original comic series that just stuck with me the most, when I was able to start reading on a monthly basis, because before I could only pick up random issues and it was all disjointed, but I started reading, it was like 37 or 38 was when I was starting to read monthly, and just getting into the whole concept of how the Crimson Guards were all these guys who had to assume this identity of Fred. Like, they've touched on it a little bit, but I don't think they've really fleshed that out as much as they could have throughout the different iterations of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, even IDW, which you'd think that would have been something they grabbed. I don't think they really ever dug into that.
Yeah, because I've always just loved that concept, and it was creepy to me as a kid. Reading that. So something like that, or just more with Cobra Commander and Billy. We haven't gotten, that a more a modern iteration of that here recently.
Although I think perhaps in modern times, tackling the son trying to assassinate his father story might be a little prickly for Hasbro to want to touch.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, Jason's Joes. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the jail in the G.I. Joe headquarters. Even as a kid, I thought it was impractical. The prisoners are right next to the computer station, allowing them to hear all sorts of classified talk. Also, the bars would allow prisoners to throw any manner of not family-friendly substances on people working at the computer station, allowing, I personally think it was more of a drunk tank where the MPs could drop off Shipwreck and other rowdy Joes to dry out. You have put more thought into the G.I. Joe headquarters jail than anybody ever has in the history of this planet. I think, look, we've talked about on the show, a jail and a play set is essential. You have to have a jail of some kind. You are 100% correct with everything that you're saying, but it had never occurred to me, and it has not changed my opinion of the G.I. Joe headquarters jail, which I love.
He doesn't even mention the fact that, you know what, all you got to do is just like reach up,
climb up,
fall right out of it.
Right.
Which is why, and I shared this a while back. I saw someone who had put the helipad on top of the jail, and that solves your roof problem. It also makes it a little bit more compact display.
Yeah.
So we just always played that it was a lower level.
Yeah, that was me. I just I assumed there was supposed to be a roof over all of it. I never thought that this was all open air.
Yeah. I mean, I played with the Lego buildings that were built like dollhouses with the open back, so I was always good to use my imagination with where there were actually walls and ceilings.
All right, that wraps up Sound Off for the night. It is time to go into our final segment, Joe and Tell, where each of us shares something Joe related, Joe adjacent, whatever. I'm going to go ahead first just because Noel kind of already scooped mine a little bit, but I'm going to mention the Python Patrol Serpentor. Found it in store, and as I suspected, there were like 6 of them on the peg. I love it. And Kristian, you'll know what I'm talking about here. I love it so much because I love the original Serpentor they did. I love the Deke Serpentor, which is down here somewhere. Oh, there it is. I love the Deke Serpentor. So let me put an image in your head, Kristian. Imagine, similar to how they do reaction Godzillas, they just keep recoloring Serpentors like crazy styles. Like
gosh.
They do like a spray Japanese style one.
Yeah.
They do, and you have this just row because the base figure is beautiful. It's a fantastic figure. So imagine you just have this row of Serpentor variants, just like they do with the Godzilla stuff.
Yeah, I would dig that.
Blind box Serpentors.
Yep.
I that just hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope. And if you remember the last time I interviewed Brian Flynn, he alluded to something.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be Blind Box Serpentor, but he alluded to thoughts about something along those lines.
Yeah, because we had asked about Blind Box, like troop builder.
Right.
And he was like, we have been talking about how to incorporate blind boxes into the Joe line.
That idea.
Not that.
Right.
Oh
so my gosh.
If he wanted to do crazy colors, I'd be into it.
I'm in. All right. Noel, what you got?
Yeah. So I'm not going to do a full haul from Retro Toy Con, but I am going to talk about the first thing that I got while I was there, before the doors were even open. Since I had a vendor badge, I was able to wander around, and as you do, you kind of wander around and maybe talk to a couple of vendors before they go public. It was right at the time the floor was opening. There was a vendor who had a lot of Transformer stuff, a lot of G1 stuff, and he had them in really great like display cases. Like he had a Megatron that was actually in like a case. It's just a few extra bucks for him, but it gives it so much more value and visibility. He had a couple of others like that too, but I saw this and I was like, I gotta have this. So these are 7 of the different mini spies from Transformers. I've been on kind of a mission to collect, if not all 24, like Autobot versus Decepticon, at least of the 12 different variations, because there's 4 different car molds and 3 different colors they were released in. So this helps that quite a bit, because that gives me 7 uniques. I also happen to find at the room next to us, I happen to find another of the mini spies there. So I wound up increasing my mini spy collection by quite a bit. I got to check to see how close I am to getting 12 out of 12. But so this was a little bit more than I wanted to pay for it initially, but I also was at the booth and I saw a couple other things, and I picked up a certain item and he gave me the price, and I was like,
you got a bundle.
That's a good price.
Got a bundle.
Well, and thankfully I had my enabler, Mr. Brian Hoffman, with me, who told me I was buying for 2 because he was not buying things. So this was also sitting there at his table. And I got essentially this and that for just about the price of what this was listed for. So this only added like a couple more bucks to it. Really.
Nice. Very nice.
That's
So
such a great deco for the shark.
Night Force Shark. I mean, it's missing stuff, but that's fine because for what I got this for, it's a nice little just sit on the shelf piece. So yeah, that was my first official purchase at Retro Toy Con.
Kristian, tell us.
I actually don't have anything because the tracking number lied to me. Because I did recently get a good one of those surprise at the last 9 minutes eBay lots of 10 vintage O-ring figures.
Ooh, nice.
Including a Serpentor, which I have an original Air Chariot, but I haven't had an original Serpentor since we got rid of our O-rings long ago.
Well, be careful handling his crotch.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully by our next live stream, because they were supposed to show up today in the mail, and when I went up there, they were not there. So
shipping in general, I think, has been a little wonky across the board.
Yep.
Well, that is all the show we've got for you tonight. Our music is by Andy Sanford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. Send us a message there with your email address, and we'll add you to the Audible Army Facebook group, where you can have an impact on how the show works and just share fun stories with other Joe fans. Noel, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Finest?
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club raising money for a wonderful organization called Canines for Warriors. We are $550 away from hitting our $10,000 goal for the year. So if you would like to go to thefinestcc.com to find out how you can donate there. You can donate on behalf of The Finest. There is a link. I think it's on the website, but otherwise... I was going to say, if you're in the Audible Army, shoot me a message and I'll send you a link directly to where you can donate if you do want to help us hit that goal. I think it's definitely doable to get another 550 by the end of the year. A couple more shows to knock that out.
Sure.
We raised 281 with my Garrison at this show. So we're doing all that we could. But yeah, help us reach that goal.
And Kristian, where can we find that toy photography you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under the name Legion Cub.
And you can find us right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel on December the 8th. Put it on your calendar. Until then, yo, Joe.
Snakesgiving.